This is Fred Wall, the Visa Coach, and today's topic is, well, about K1 Fiance Visa Denials based upon moral grounds that your courtship occurred before the divorce was final.
VisaCoach. Fast, easy, and personal.
I am Fred Wall, the Visa Coach, and I am known for the personal, one-on-one relationship that we share. That's you, me, and your partner, as we work together as a team to overcome the many challenges of immigration. Don't risk your happiness. Don't go this course alone without accepting my expert one-on-one guidance and help. Alone, it's too easy for you to make mistakes that cause tears, delays, and expensive denials. Do pick up the phone and speak with me directly so that you and I can get to know each other. And this is the free consultation that I talk about later. Now, if we are compatible, well, that's the beginning of our beautiful relationship to get you the immigration approvals that you need. Now, this is what two of my clients, Laurentine and Jean, had to say. Jean comes from Kenya, and I helped him get his fiancé visa, and this is in Laurentine's voice. I am so excited, happy, and grateful for having Fred handle my fiancé visa case. Fred is extremely knowledgeable in fiancé visa cases. He pretty much explained the whole process to us, answered all questions and concerns we had. The entire process was stress-free, and my fiancé was in the USA with me after 5 months. I highly recommend his service, trustworthy and affordable. All right, so now let's talk about being denied your K1 fiancé visa based upon, well, bad moral character because your courtship or engagement occurred before your divorce, before you were actually free to marry. An often overlooked eligibility requirement for the fiancé visa is that the foreign fiancé must be of good moral character. As always, a consular officer's decision to approve or deny is based upon his own experience and intuition. He's making a holistic judgment that can be influenced by his own religious or moral beliefs. The history of the courtship, as well as the history of previous marriages, is always reviewed by the consular officer carefully. And sometimes the timeline of courtships and previous marriages overlap. Depending upon the officer, this overlap, while dating when one or the other couple is still married, could be understood as reasonable or could be deemed an immoral violation of the marriage vows. In a word, adultery. And if the consular officer decides to take the strict moral view that the relationship was adulterous, well, the visa is denied. Now, I've spent the last few days helping two different clients with similar issues in their cases. Their problem is that they both met their fiancés and started their romantic relationships before their respective divorces were final. Now, considering that the divorce or annulment process can last years, it's not that unusual for a modern couple to meet while one or the other is putting the final wraps to their previous failed marriages. The problem lies with how strictly a consular officer defines good moral character. Now, the intention of this requirement is to exclude those who are involved in crime, such as violence, drugs, sex trade. However, some consular officers will interpret a courtship that took place before a failed marriage got its official court-ordered dissolution decree as a reason to deny on these moral character grounds. A consular officer with more experiences and maturity is more likely to understand and accept the realities of human nature and failed relationships. But an officer may have less world experience and might have a strict family or religious background and be, well, far less understanding of your situation. Denial of fiancé or spouse visas based on poor moral character demonstrated by adultery happens, well, quite often at the consulate in Guangzhou, China. The officers there frequently deny cases where, in the opinion of the officer, the couple committed adultery. Now, let me share this experience. One of my clients was an American university professor, and he had met his Chinese fiancée as she was in an exchange program from her Chinese university. She was actually a visiting professor at his college campus. Before he met her, his divorce was already underway. He had already been separated from his wife. He had already filed for divorce. But during the last 3 months of his Chinese fiancée's visit to the USA, he and his fiancée moved in and lived together. But his divorce was not quite yet final. She returned to China, his divorce decree was eventually issued, and then they applied for her fiancé visa. And at her interview in Guangzhou, the consular officer found no problems with their application, except that the American's divorce was not already final while the couple was courting and living together. Their application was denied. Now, full disclosure, they were not my clients when they were denied, but had done their own DIY application. They came to me for help after their denial. Now that's when they finally became my clients, and I successfully helped them reapply to get their fiancé visa, and then conditional adjustment of status, and recently permanent adjustment of status, permanent residency. Two university professors are obviously intelligent and capable, but even they discovered that facing immigration alone can be a nightmare. And that's when they decided to use VisaCoach to help them through. Now fast forward to today's couples. The two front-loaded petitions I am working on are still on my desk. Both couples had relationships which began while the American was still married, and both will be processed in China, the second toughest consulate of all the consulates to get visa approval from. Now, whenever I prepare a front-loaded petition, I always include a warm letter for the consular officer to read, which describes the circumstances past and future of the couple's relationship. I tell the couple's story in a persuasive and personal way, and I want the officer to get to know and even like the couple before the interview starts. Often this letter is the tipping point to get visa approval. Now, in cases where there are red flags, this letter is even more important. It is our best opportunity to explain away and reduce the effect of any issues while the consular officer still has an open mind before the interview starts. Now, part of my VisaCoach process is as early as possible, I get to know the couple's background and situation very well. Then I put myself into the mind of the consular officer and think about what opinions he would have regarding their story and evidences. What would he consider as a red flag? What issues would he be concerned about? What hard questions would he want to ask? Then I work on the couple's letter to create a clear and persuasive text that explains to the consular officer why the red flags, well, that I think he will identify, are not important and should be forgiven or ignored. And I help him move his focus away from the red flags to concentrate on the good reasons there are to approve the visa instead. This well-written letter should detour him away from a line of confrontational questioning and instead lead to a short but sweet interview. So in the case of the couples that were dating before their divorces were final, I worked with them to write a narrative that explained their marital and courtship histories in the most positive way. I rewrote and revised a few times before finally satisfied that I explained their circumstances as well as possible to give them their best chance of success. So in conclusion, look, if at all possible, conclude your failed marriage before looking for new romance. But regardless of when you do find your new love, well, VisaCoach is here to help make her fiancé or spouse visa happen. Now this is Fred Wall, the VisaCoach. Now please like or add your comments to this video, and then go to VisaCoach.com and sign up for the VisaCoach monthly newsletter. Each month it's full of tips and advice on immigration and free of charge. Finally, when you are ready to get started, call for your free consultation and speak with me directly.
Before starting your immigration adventure, before entering an arcane maze of rules, regulations, and procedures, before committing yourself to a risky path that could mean an end to your happiness, speak with the VisaCoach and ask for his free consultation. He listens to you to learn the red flags and strengths of your case, your eligibility and goals. He will suggest which visa is right for you, the best strategy to get it, and how soon your love can join you. The friendly advice and wisdom he'll freely share with you might make the difference between approval and denial, and could save you months or years of loneliness and separation. What have you got to lose? Book your free consultation today.